Hi, my Room 6 friends. It's Mr. P. Do you get letters? I get letters. I get letters in the mail, and they have some type of postage. Usually you'll see a stamp, like this one. It can look totally different. This is a flag. They could be animals. They could be people, paintings, all kinds of different things get turned into stamps. This one just happens to be the flag. Usually when stuff gets mailed to me, it's a bill. But sometimes people get letters and things from all around the world. This is a globe. This is a model, basically, of the Earth, of the planet we live on. The place that we're going to be talking about today is called Seoul, Korea. And it's over here. I made a little sticky so you can see. And it's near Japan, which is this island with the mountain and volcano on it. So if we were to travel to us, all right, it would be a long trip, one way or the other. If we went this way, well, how do you think we'd get there? Because, that doesn't seem to work too well, because we just seem to go through the water to get to us. We couldn't walk on the water, I don't think. And here we are near the Statue of Liberty. That's in New York. And we would be right over here, all right, in Massachusetts. Most of you guys are in Worcester, Massachusetts. And then even going this way, if we wanted to get over there, it would be difficult because we'd have to go through water again. So getting there is not going to be easy. So if we knew someone there, how would we communicate with them? Would we just shout, "Hey, do you want to play with me?" Well, I don't think that would work. Even as loud as Mr. P is, I don't think that would work. So think in your head how you might be able to do that. How could you get there? How could you get information to them? How could you get something to them? That's part of what this book is about, called Dear Juno. And you can see the little boy, who we'll find out in a minute is Juno, has gotten a letter. A lot of times now we get information by computer in emails or text messages on cell phones. But when Mr. P was growing up, we used to write these things called letters. And we would talk to our friends and thank friends and families for gifts that we had gotten or for coming to visit us. Most of that stuff we do now electronically, either in Google Meets, in videos, in text messages, in emails, things like that. So let's find out what this letter in Dear Juno is all about, okay? Oh, Mr. P forgot to put on his glasses. It happens. Much better. Juno watched as the red and white blinking lights soared across the night sky like shooting stars and waited as they disappeared into faraway places. Juno wondered where they came from. He wondered where they were going, and he wondered if any of the planes came from a little town near Seoul where his grandmother lived and where she ate persimmons every evening before bed. So think about, he said he saw blinking lights. What do you think those blinking lights were? There's something in this picture that might have had blinking lights. Juno looked at the letter that came that day. It was long and white and smudged. He saw the red and blue marks on the edges and knew the letter came from far away. His name and address were neatly printed on the front, so he knew the letter was for him. But best of all, the special stamp on the collar told Juno that the letter was from his grandmother. Through the window, Juno could see his parents. He saw bubbles grow big in the sink. He saw dirty dishes waiting to be washed. He knew he would have to wait for the cleaning to be done before his parents could read the letter to him. We have to wait for things sometimes too, don't we? Maybe I can read the inside too, Juno said to his dog, Sam. Sam wagged his tail. Very carefully, Juno opened the envelope. Inside, he found a letter folded in a neat, small square. It's kind of exciting when you get a letter. Sometimes you don't know what's in it. Like opening a package or a gift in a box. A lot of us have been getting Amazon boxes, and maybe we wonder, what's in that thing? What came this time? Well, when Mr. P was growing up, that was like getting a letter, all right? Wondering who it was from and what was in it. He unfolded it. Tucked inside were a pitcher and a dried flower. Juno looked at the letters and words he couldn't understand. He pulled out the photograph. It was a picture of his grandmother holding a cat. He pulled out the red and yellow flower. It felt light and gentle, like a dried leaf. Juno smiled. "Come on, Sam," Juno said. "Let's find Mom and Dad." So this is the letter that he found with the dried flower and the picture of his grandmother with her cat. And this is Korean. Now, you'll notice that it looks more like symbols than our letters, and a lot of languages are like that they made to us look more like symbols or pictures. Like that one there, almost to Mr. P, looks kind of like a person with his head and his arms and his feet. But it is their language. That is how they write their letters and their words. Sometimes images like this even represent in different languages a whole phrase or a sentence. So while the letter might seem very small, it could actually have a lot of information in it. "Grandma has a new cat," Juno said as he handed the letter to his mother, "and she's growing red and yellow flowers in her garden." "How do you know she has a new cat?" Juno's father asked. "She wouldn't send me a picture of a stranger's cat," said Juno. "I guess not," said Juno's father. "How do you know the flower is from her garden?" asked Juno's mother. She wouldn't send me a flower from someone else's garden, Mom," Juno answered. "No, she wouldn't," said Juno's mother. Then Juno's mother read him the letter. So even though Juno couldn't read the letter himself, he figured out some things just by what was in the envelope, the picture and the flower. "Dear Juno, how are you? I have a new cat to keep me company. I named him Juno, after you. He can't help me weed, but the rabbits no longer come to eat my flowers. Grandma." "It's just like you read it yourself," Juno's father said. "I did read it," Juno said. "Yes, you did," said his mother. So that is maybe him thinking about what Grandma looked like when she was writing that letter, all the things that were going on in it, her garden, the new cat chasing away the rabbit. Even though he doesn't help with the weeding, he keeps the plants safe from the rabbit who might eat them, and she's getting ready to write her letter. At school, Juno showed his class his grandmother's picture and dried flower. His teacher even pinned the letter to the board. All day long, Juno kept peeking at the flower from his grandmother's garden. He didn't have a garden that grew flowers, but he had a swinging tree. Juno looked at the letter pinned to the board. Did his grandmother like getting letters too? Yes, Juno thought. She likes getting letters just like I do, so Juno decided to write one. And this is him in school, and the teacher has put the letter up there with the envelope. There's some other letters up there. Maybe kids wrote them or brought them in from other people, or maybe they're messages to the families. We do stuff like that when we're in the classroom. After school, Juno ran to his backyard. He picked a leaf from the swinging tree, the biggest leaf he could find. Juno found his mother, who was sitting at her desk. He showed her the leaf. "I'm going to write a letter," he told her. "I'm sure it will be a very nice letter," she answered, and gave him a big yellow envelope. "Yes, it will," Juno said, and he began to draw. And there's Juno, climbing in his tree, looking for the biggest leaf he can find. And you might say, "Hey, I've seen leaves like that around us." Right? You might have trees like this, and they kind of look like they're starting to change colors. And he's wearing a jacket. What time of year do you think it is? Yeah, I think it's maybe fall too, kind of like around here. First, he drew a picture of his mom and dad standing outside the house. Second, he drew a picture of Sam playing underneath his big swing in the tree. Then, very carefully, Juno drew a picture of himself standing on an airplane in a starry nighttime sky. After he was finished, he placed everything in the envelope. So he's sending his grandmother a lot of stuff. Nowadays, a lot of times when you guys send pictures, you send them through an email. I've gotten a lot of your pictures on our Seesaw of you guys wearing masks and some of the colors you found. And we'll get a lot more of those. It's good. It's a nice way to share, but Mr. P does miss the actual pictures, I'll be honest, because we would have those up in the classroom. Here's my letter, Juno announced proudly. You can read it if you want. Juno's father looked in the envelope. He pulled out the leaf. Only a big swinging tree could grow a leaf like this, and this big, he said. Juno's mother pulled out one of the drawings. What a fine picture, she said. It takes a good artist to say so much with a drawing. Juno's father patted Juno on the head. It's just like a real letter, he said. It is a real letter, Juno said. It certainly is, said his mother. Then they mailed the envelope and waited. Well, apparently, Grandma got that letter. Oh, and these things here are the persimmons, the fruit that they eat over there, that they grow and eat. All right. There's the kitty cat, fell asleep on the big yellow envelope, and the pictures and the leaf and his grandma. One day, a big envelope came. It was from Juno's grandmother again. This time, Juno didn't wait at all. He opened the envelope right away. Inside, Juno found a box of colored pencils. He knew that she wanted another letter. Next, he pulled out a picture of his grandmother. He noticed she was sitting with a cat and 2 kittens. He thought for a moment and laughed. Now his grandmother would have to find a new name for her cat. In Korea, Juno was a boy's name, not a girl's. Then he pulled out a small toy plane. Juno smiled. His grandmother was coming to visit. There's a lot going on there. So, how did he know where those kittens came from? Because we thought it was a boy cat named after him, Juno, but yeah, it must have been a girl cat, and she had kittens. So that's why Juno says he's going to have to probably have his grandmother rename the cat to a more girl's name. Also, the plane he takes as a hint that she's coming for a visit, and that the colored pencils are for him to draw more pictures for her. And you can see in this picture, it definitely is a little later, so it's taken a while for his letter to go there and hers to come all the way back, because remember, there were a lot of leaves in the trees, and now they're all down on the ground and blowing around. So that helps us tell that a lot of time has gone by. Not enough that there's snow yet, but remember, that tree, when he was climbing it, was filled with leaves. Maybe she'll bring her cat when she comes to visit, Juno said to Sam as he climbed into bed. Maybe you two will be friends. Soon, Juno was fast asleep, and when he dreamed that night, he dreamed about a faraway place, a village just outside Seoul, where his grandmother, whose gray hair sat on top of her head like a powdered donut, was sipping her morning tea. The cool air feels crisp against her cheek, crisp enough to crackle, he dreams, like the golden leaves which cover the persimmon garden. So there he is thinking about her. And up. Looks like it's snowing there. So time has definitely passed. Excuse Mr. P. So there's a lot going on in that book, and there's a lot of questions you can ask the kids. and that you guys can think about. So we said that it is a long way around the planet, around the Earth, especially from where his grandmother is. All right here. Excuse me, all the way around to where we are. Now, there's a lot of different ways that this could have happened. In the story, it was letters. It was him figuring out and guessing, even though he couldn't read the letter, what was going on because of what was in the envelope with it. Also, we got ideas on how much time had passed and how much time it might take to send a letter. Now, hey, we just push a button. Boop. Oh, Grandma got the message. It takes a lot longer to send a letter, but Mr. P, I miss letters. They are nice. So think about ways that you can look at this book again and notice the time changes, how long things took, and you can even figure these out when you're looking at things around your own house, around your own neighborhood, when we go back to school, when you visit somewhere. Even if you can't read the words on a sign, even if you can't read a letter, you can kind of guess, figure out what's going on by what you see or what you don't see. In the case of the tree where the leaves were gone and they had been there before. So sometimes it's what you don't see too, all right? Listen to the story again, read another book, see if you can find things in that book. Think, have fun. I'll talk to you later. Bye, my friends.